What's up, guys? Another knife review, and believe it or not, it's not filmed the same time as I filmed the other one, even though I'm at the same table. It's just another beautiful day. So it's actually even nicer today. The sun's actually out. So I got a bunch of yard work done, and now I'm taking a little break to do a knife review. This is the SOG Toothlock. Here's the box. Just wanted to show you that real quick. On the back here, well, the newer ones say gunny approved, which is pretty cool. And anyway, so the SOG Toothlock. I've had this one for probably 2 months now, maybe 2.5 months, and got a lot of use out of it. But the first thing I could say is it's held a fantastic edge. This has a VG10 stainless steel blade, and before I even get into the review, I'm just going to do a quick little cutting demo for you, just to start off the right way. Normal printer paper, nothing special. And by the way, this is with a about a month's worth of use on it, so nice and sharp. Oops. Caught the base there. So anyway, get little skinny ones. It's nice and sharp. And towards the end of the review, I'm going to cut some seatbelt. Haven't done that in a while. Found this in my drawer. Bunch of seatbelt I got. Actually, one person had sent in seatbelt that was donated to the channel, which is pretty cool. And I also had seatbelt left over too. So I'll be doing some more cutting towards the end. But anyway, let's start off with some specs on the knife here, as I give you a better view of it. As I said, the blade is a VG10 stainless steel. The knife is made in Japan. Of course, the VG10 is, you know, exclusive to Japanese knives. But you can see there on the blade, it's 3 inches long. The overall length is 7.31 inches. Of course, making the closed length just about 4 inches or so. And the handle here is Zytel, heavily textured, and I'll go over that in just a moment. But pretty cool little knife. You can see it's pretty fast to open up there. Overall weight is 3.3 ounces, and it has what they call a piston lock, which is basically this this button here. I shouldn't really call it a button, it's more of a lever. See, it protrudes out on both sides, and basically doesn't matter which side you use, righty or lefty, so it makes it ambidextrous. But usually when I do this, I'll use both fingers and pull both down, but that actually releases the tang of the blade and allows it to close. Now what's cool is that when the closed position, when you push this down, it actually initiates the blade a little bit, pushes out just a little bit. So if you're one of those people who happen to like to flick your knives out, it's extremely easy to do. Same as the Axis lock from Benchmade, or you know, the Arc lock from Cold Steel, or you know, various locking mechanisms. But this one happens to be called the piston lock. But pretty cool. And obviously, as you see, it's nice and smooth. You can flick it out with the thumb stud if you want. Both hands, lefty or righty. Although not as good with my left hand. But anyway, and of course, like you saw before, you don't have to actually touch that thumb stud at all. You can just flick it out with the locking mechanism itself. Very cool. Like that quite a bit. It's very fast and easy to use. Lockup is very nice. No hint of up and down. Tiny bit left to right, but of course that can be adjusted through the pivot with the screws, and that is a Torx screw, if you guys can see that. So really like that. Very simple. Another thing you'll notice is there's a flathead screw for the thumb stud, and if you look at the reverse, you can see where that screw goes through and ends. So for cleaning purposes, or for some reason you didn't want the thumb stud on, you can remove it. Of course, there'll be a little hole in the blade, but if that's just something that gets in your way or bugs you and you're always using the piston lock to open it, you can actually remove it, which is pretty cool. Something you don't get on a lot of other knives. Simple construction on this one. You can see there's a little back spacer towards the butt end here. It's a semi flow-through design. There's basically only one little spot here that you can see through. So it does capture a little bit of lint, and I did find that with pocket use I had to just take some compressed air and just blow that out. But it was very easy to do. Never took it totally apart to clean it yet, but so far, it's been pretty good. Haven't dropped it in the mud or sand or anything, so I haven't needed to do that. Pocket clip is really nice on this. Of course, you can flip this around for right or left hand carry, but you cannot reverse it to a tip down carry. It's only tip up. But if you have to go one way or the other, more people prefer tip up than people who prefer tip down. At least that's from my experience, so I guess it was a good way to go. Of course, it's a very deep pocket clip like most, if not all, SOG knives. It's very cool. The one thing I can tell you about this knife, it is extremely, extremely grippy. In fact, I think right around here, where your pointer finger and index, or excuse me, your pointer finger and middle finger kind of wrap around a little bit. It's so aggressive that without gloves, I found when I was really digging down, it was a little bit uncomfortable. And the pattern there is just basically that of a serration. It's just like a serrated blade. With gloves, it's been really, really good. And I've actually used this out in the garden a little bit this year. Not my garden specifically, but I've been helping out with my my friends and just, you know, opening bags of dirt and stuff, and it's been fantastic. It's really been really good. But again, with the gloves, having my garden gloves on, it feels amazing. I think it's just a little bit too aggressive barehanded, but that's just my preference. You can see all kinds of texturing on here. Of course, the really cool part is right in the middle, the SOG logo. It's really detailed there, pretty intricate. And same on the back. The pocket clip itself, now that I'm looking at it again, I can tell you that it carries very nicely. It's not too tight, not too loose. It's kind of that middle ground. You also have some of that scalloping in the back there, serration style grip. And I haven't used this knife in the reverse grip at all. This is actually, believe it or not, this is the first time I'm trying it, and feels fine. As I mentioned in the past, it's not going to be very often, or it'll be a rare situation where you're actually holding it in the reverse grip to do any kind of utility work. It's not going to happen very often. But it's pretty cool. I like the design. It's a recurve blade. It's got a reverse tanto style tip here, which, you know, enables the very tip to be a little bit bulkier, a little bit thicker, and definitely stronger. So it helps with penetration. Although I haven't needed to stab anything with this, I'm sure it would excel in that compared to some other blade styles. A little bit funky. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. The recurve blade is a little bit harder to sharpen on a traditional stone. However, if you have a Spyderco sharp maker or a Lansky rod system or something along those lines, it is easier to sharpen. But as I mentioned before, the VG10 stainless steel, it's been totally awesome. Edge retention has been fantastic. Have yet to touch this up even, and it has a decent amount of use on it. So really, really cool. I really like it. The price point on this knife, or price range I should say, full retail is $145. But again, as I mentioned, you're never going to pay full retail. What I found interesting about this one is that this one is actually a lot cheaper than retail as opposed to other knives. Sometimes retail may be like, I don't know, 150 bucks, and the actual knife costs like, say, 100, 120. This one, the retail is 145, but I found this as cheap as 70 bucks. It ranges anywhere from 70 to 90. So really do your homework, dig around a little bit. You can find it for $70, and I think for 70 bucks, it's a fantastic knife. I think it's still a good knife for $80. Once the price starts going up and up, it becomes a little bit harder to justify the price because there's so many knives out there in the higher price range, and you know, you have a lot of variety to choose from. But I really like it. I think it's a little bit unique. You don't see VG10 too often outside of, say, Spyderco's, so it's pretty cool. I like it a lot, and now I'm just going to show you a little bit of cutting on that seatbelt material. If you don't already know, seatbelt material is very, very tough stuff. Obviously, it should be, and it's a great medium to practice cutting. As you can see, cuts through relatively easily, and even with a 3-inch blade, you can see I'm getting through with one pass. Covers the whole length on here. Now the recurve blade, as you're cutting through, the curvature actually digs into the material a little bit. Because this is towards the bottom of the belly here, comes in, as I'm actually cutting, whoop, get that off there. As I'm cutting into the material, let me try to give you a good view of this. As I'm cutting in, you see how the blade extends past the material, so it's forced to grip down and cut into it even deeper and further. So, nice and sharp, very effective, very cool little knife. Ooh, knocking the camera all around. But there you go. So, alright, sorry about that, guys. The the camera shut off on me, I realized I'm still talking and it's not recording. It's a little embarrassing. But anyway, I don't know where it cut off, but I was just going to say, you know, I was telling my story, which I told before, about when I flipped over in my friend's car back in high school. It's in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we rolled over a few times back in a country road, and when the Jeep finally stopped, we were upside down, and the belt, because my body weight's pushing on the belt, it locked in, and there was no way. I was really pushing on that button, and I could not release it. And I had a different knife on me at the time, but I was able to cut myself out because I did have a pocket knife. So that's why really I'm doing the test on this. Not only is it very hard material to cut, but it's a realistic test. You know, you never know, God forbid you're in an accident or something. You know, it's good to know your knife can cut you out if you need to. So there you go. Anyway, that's all. The SOG Toothlock. It's pretty cool. It comes in a couple different flavors, if you will. Black Blade, if that's your thing. But I happen to like this one. This is a polished satin. And it's got a nice gleam to it. Doesn't really show scratches too bad. Well, there's a couple smaller scratches here. But really like it. One of my new fun folders. So anyway, that's all. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'll give you a couple closer shots here. Oh, by the way, it is a Zytel frame here, but if you could see, there's a full metal liner on both sides. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see that. So it's completely reinforced. You know, some guys are into that, some aren't. It doesn't add a whole lot of weight to it, but very cool. And again, just like my last review, we have this presentation style hardware on here. Pivot screw and body screws are reversed so that you have a nice clean, crisp look on the front. I just mentioned that in my last review of the Benjamin Model 53 Balisong. Nice touch. So anyway, that's the SOG Toothlock. It's pretty cool. If you guys have this knife or reviewed it already, post a video response. Love to see it. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.